This famous line from Gold D. Roger built extreme hype around Joyboy and has since left the fandom wondering about this peculiar individual. And this hype just grew 100-folds when the Warrior of Freedom from the Void Century got linked with Luffy in the Wano Country arc. Now, it has been long foreshadowed by the author of One Piece about Luffy's link with Joyboy and how he will liberate the world from oppression and tyranny carrying the will of Joyboy. This hint was given to the fans in the Fisherman Island arc, where we saw sea monsters talking about a certain individual who will come and shake the very foundations of the world. Many fans speculated as none other than Luffy himself. So, hello and welcome back to Anime Max. Today, let's walk through some of the most exciting theories present which might just explain Luffy's link with Joyboy. Before we get into the theories, however, let us look at some of the already established facts that we know about Joyboy and his connection to Luffy. Despite being an immensely important character, Joyboy did not get introduced to the story until only after the events of the War of Marineford. To be precise, Joyboy was first mentioned at Fisherman Island when Nico Robin found his message in the sea forest. Now, it is very obvious that Joyboy had a connection to Fisherman Island, and according to what the story tells us, he wanted the fishermen to live in harmony with the people on the surface. But due to some unknown reason, he failed in keeping his promise. Hence, he wrote an apology on a poneglyph and passed it on to the residents of the island at the time. The poneglyph was later found by Robin in the sea forest, which revealed the existence of Joyboy. Another important thing fans got to know about Joyboy was the fact that he was fighting a war against the 20 kings who created the world government some 800 to 900 years ago in the Void Century. However, he found himself on the losing side of the battle, which resulted in the formation of the current world order. After the end of the battle, his allies, especially those of the Kozuki, wrote ancient scriptures which engraved the history of the world on blocks of stone, officially known as the poneglyphs. While it is still a mystery whether Joyboy lived or died during the war, it is almost imminent that he would eventually make a comeback and resume his mission. In Oden's flashback, it is clearly mentioned that Joyboy would return to the world in 20 or so years and once again challenge the very foundations of the world. In the current storyline of One Piece, that time is now, which implies that Joyboy has already been reborn somewhere in the world, and while it is still not exactly clear who Joyboy is, fans are almost certain for him to be none other than my man Luffy. Joyboy's return will definitely be a major plot point in the storyline, greatly affecting the hierarchy of the world. And speaking of the hierarchy, fans were greeted with a massive revelation regarding the world government in the Reverie arc. While many believed that the Gorosei were the highest form of authority in the government and were the ones calling all the shots, everyone was stunned when the identity of Imu-sama was revealed. The fact that the 5 elders bowed in front of the mysterious figure signified his importance as the true king of the world. Interestingly, Imu had a giant straw hat in his possession which looked exactly like the one that Roger once wore and Luffy wears currently. According to popular belief, it is highly likely that the straw hat belonged to none other than Joyboy himself. This gives us an idea about how Imu fought Joyboy in the past and ended up defeating him. However, now that Joyboy has returned, what does that mean to the current political scenario of the world? Oh, how exciting the speculations are. Feel free to let your theories be known in the comment section below. It is evident from the story that Joyboy possessed incredible strength and posed a major threat to the 20 kings of the past. Looking at Luffy as he is now, he has formally become one of the 4 emperors of the sea and even has a massive fleet he can call upon anytime he wants. In essence, he is more than capable of starting a war that may send the world into turmoil. As a matter of fact, we know that a great war will start in the future which will spread all around the globe, as mentioned by Whitebeard in his dying moments. So the possibility of Luffy being Joyboy is fairly high. Now, let's look at some of the most plausible theories which might help us explain who Joyboy really was and his connection to Luffy. As mentioned before, Joyboy has been linked into the Void Century and therefore the truth of the world which the government has preserved for over 800 years now. Alongside this, he also has been linked to the people of the D clan and ancient weapons. According to this, it is believed that Joyboy could be the original of the D and the rest are descendants of his bloodline. Meanwhile, another theory states that the people of the D are the original inhabitants of the great kingdom that once existed, with Joyboy being their leader. Another one says that Joyboy might have been a traveler who set on a mission to join the other races of the world together and make them allies, similar to what Luffy has achieved throughout his journey. The Reverie meeting is a prime example of how Luffy's popularity went off the roof, with many ending up idolizing him and getting along with each other. So Joyboy could originally have been a great traveler that unified different races and kingdoms around the world. This was seen as a threat by many who sought to eliminate him by labeling him and his followers as the first pirate group that emerged. In the same sense, Joyboy could have been the original seeker of true freedom, and Luffy is also a strong follower of this notion as his action and words reflect his belief of being the person with the most freedom. Luffy's goal is not to rule, and perhaps Joyboy started his journey with the same goal as well. According to another major theory, Joyboy was the ruler of the great ancient kingdom and was uniting all the ancient weapons. However, it is said that he was betrayed by those who wanted to use the weapons for world domination. This betrayal saw the rise of the 20 original celestial dragons who would later go on to form the world government. This theory holds quite some weight, as during the Ohara incident we saw Professor Clover mention that the ancient weapon is surely a threat to the world, but more importantly, this history will surely reveal the existence and idea of this kingdom, and that presents a threat to your world government, doesn't it? Professor Clover was killed before he could give the name of the actual kingdom, which could have painted a clear picture in everyone's mind. The fact that the world government defiantly keeps the events of the Void Century a secret strengthens the idea that they must have done something horrible to ensure their rise to power, and is not hesitant to keep committing atrocities to keep their secret. A popular belief is that Joyboy's body holds the key to finding or using the ancient weapons, such as Shirahoshi. It states that Joyboy's body may have a direct link to these weapons, whether it is blood-related or that Joyboy possesses an item that may uncover the latent powers within the individual. This theory is also rather interesting, as Luffy is already great friends with Shirahoshi and may discover other weapons along the way that will greatly add to his strength if he is able to unravel the mysteries of all the ancient weapons. This will surely send tremors and panic around the world, especially in the world government. Now that we have looked at some of the most intriguing theories about Joyboy, let's move on to some interesting facts about him. In the words of the Pirate King, Joyboy was a great man who had loads of treasure in his belongings. Although no one really knows what exactly that treasure is, Roger called it a massive treasure, which baffled his mind. Along this, it is believed that Joyboy was the true owner of the grandest treasure ever known, the One Piece. The treasure was found by Roger pirates at the end of their journey, and just like most things, they left the treasure back to be discovered by their successor. Speaking of the last island, it was believed that the Roger pirates were the only ones to ever step foot on it. However, chapter 967 proved it to be incorrect, as Roger specifically mentions Joyboy being at the island about 800 years in the past. This clearly implies his deep connection to the final island, giving us a huge hint of what the legendary One Piece might be. Just like Fisherman Island, Joyboy had a deep-rooted connection with WANO as well. We know this for certain because the language written on the poneglyphs actually originated from WANO, and more specifically, the Kozuki clan. After traveling to the last island, Oden found out that Joyboy would eventually return, and it was the Kozuki clan who closed the gates of WANO to prevent themselves from external influence. Oden believed it was his responsibility to open up WANO to the world, which would guide Joyboy's successor and ultimately assist him in his mission. Even in his dying moments, he asked his retainers for one thing, which was to open the gates of the country and make WANO a hospitable place until the mysterious historical figure makes his return and liberates the country from its cruel ruler. It is true that at this point fans definitely do not know much about this legendary figure, but it is safe to assume that the secrets of Joyboy will soon be revealed as the One Piece manga heads towards its climax. While there are many wild theories on the internet regarding Luffy and Joyboy, one even stating that Luffy could be a Joyboy clone, but whatever the truth is, will finally be revealed as the Straw Hats reach the end of their journey. One could only wonder what kind of exciting new adventures await them. And that would be it for now. If you found this interesting, please consider to like and subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on any new uploads. With that said, see you in the next one. Peace.